Hi everyone, welcome back. It is boiling today in London, so bear with me whilst I just sweat through this video. I also feel like this gives away the exact day I'm filming, so I shouldn't leave it too long to edit the video, otherwise you'll realise how long it takes me. Okay, so let's get into the video. Now, one thing that many designers and illustrators have is an online shop, but it took me a little while to work out whether it would be worth putting the time and energy into. So I thought I'd create a two-part video to help you work out whether you should start a shop and how to go about doing that. So part one is going to be all the questions that you should ask yourself before starting a shop and my experience with running my own shop, what I like about it and what I don't. And stick around for a bonus bit at the end where I show you which artwork I have personally bought and what's made it onto my walls. So first up, I want to talk about my experience, and the first question is, will people actually buy your work? This is something I still struggle with sometimes. Figuring out how to make people part with money is quite hard because people loving something and people loving something enough to buy it and spend money on it is a completely different ballgame. So to give you a little example, a viral piece that I created that got tens of thousands of likes, I decided to do a poll to see how many of those people would actually buy this as a print, and 200 people said they would, and I got really excited about that. That translated to I think 50 people then actually went to buy. So that's an indicator of the sort of drop-off scale at each point, from people liking the illustration I did to then people actually saying they were going to buy and then people actually buying. I think it's some sort of funnel. Damn it, I used to know this when I worked in social media. There's a specific funnel of how you get people to buy. So I think the first thing to bear in mind is, do you have a little fan base already? If not, I think SEO, ads maybe, and think about the contacts you have that might be able to help you out with a bit more exposure that you're starting a shop. Or if you're really keen, perhaps just invest in a small bit of stock and see how it goes. And then as you figure out your shop, you can buy more stock, see how that goes. The very first few prints I released in my stock, I bought 50 all in one go. I didn't do any research. I didn't see who would be up for buying it. I bought 50 and then I was stuck with them for so long because I evolved as an artist. I eventually didn't enjoy these prints as much as my newer prints, and neither did the people following me. So I was just stuck with all this stock, and in the end I donated it to a charity and company. Now, some illustrators have really hacked the shop and they don't have any clients. They don't need clients because they know they can just make whatever they want, put it in their shop, and people will buy. I also think some artists are more of a brand, and that's, in my opinion, a little bit easier to sell as a commodity. So what I mean is people love the person themselves and they've sort of created a brand around themselves, and people will just want to buy things that this specific person has made. And this is really clever, and I think two people do it very well, in my opinion. I love observing other people and how their businesses work. Yeah, the two people off the top of my head are Mr. Bingo and Florence Given. They have a tone of voice, they stick with it, and their audience loves them for it. And I think if you're looking to build a shop as your main source of income, it's a good idea to build a brand around the shop. And I know brand can be such a dirty word, especially in illustration and art, because we're all pure, we're not sellouts. But I use this term loosely, and we have bills to pay. I am not here to be a starving artist. I don't want you to be a starving artist either. I want you to get that money that you deserve. So for me, when I was starting out this shop, I realized it wasn't going to be that lucrative. I couldn't live off my shop. But something recently I realized when I was creating this big spreadsheet of all the sales I've ever done. And something I realized was that actually this shop has given me a quarter of my yearly income for the last couple of years. And this has made me realize I cannot ignore my shop. I can't think of it just as pocket money anymore. This is a significant portion of my income, and I need to be putting more time investment into it. Even if it starts quite small, don't sniff at it. So my main stream of income is through commissions, and because my commissions are in the hundreds and thousands, they seem much more appealing straight away than a print that I will sell for £30 at a time. But these add up over the course of the year. And I also think it's a little bit dangerous to rely on one stream of income, because you never know how the industry is going to change. And freelancing is so volatile, so I do think it's a good idea to try to at least have several different strands to your bow. So why else should you start a shop other than money? For me, I really enjoy the shop because it's a different focus. I really enjoy the packaging side of the shop. It allows my creative brain a little rest because I can just kind of package prints in this repetitive, monotonous way, and I find it really meditative. And it's also really great for creative block, just going and packaging some prints and then coming back later to creative work. So I totally forgot to say, this video is going to be from an illustrator's point of view and an illustration specific shop, but hopefully different creatives will be able to find bits from this video and apply it to their own creative endeavours, whether you're selling prints or products or t-shirts or whatever you fancy selling in your shop. Another really lovely thing about a shop is it's nice to know that people want what you're selling and want to have it in their homes. And as an artist, that's the loveliest thing. Your art isn't just existing for social media, it's existing in people's spaces. So next up is working out your audience, and will they buy? Will your current audience buy what you're selling? And ask them. So if as an artist your work is mainly client-facing and business-based, maybe try and figure out a way of creating new work that is more suited to what people would want to buy. Or perhaps your artwork could be in a different form, and be creative about how you can sell your work. Maybe it could be a fun book instead of a print that you self-publish. Or maybe your specific audience right now is not the audience you need to buy your work, and you need to find that new audience. Now, I feel like this is much easier said than done, and I don't necessarily have the answer for this, but maybe how I would find a new audience for my work would be to start using different hashtags that people are searching for on social media. Maybe gifting it to some people that are part of the audience you want to be targeting and hoping they'll share it, and you'll get some more sales through word of mouth or social media posts. Or maybe a shop just isn't right for you right now. So the next thing I think I should talk about is what you're in store for when creating a store. When you're starting, you might be on your own, which means you're going to be a one-person shop band thing. And that means you're going to be the designer, you're going to be in charge of production, sales, shipping, posting, packaging, everything. And customer service as well. So that's a lot of jobs to have on one person. So you want to make sure you have the time to dedicate to this. Now for me, the sales part is the hardest thing. I don't like to post about a print more than once because it feels a bit pushy. And my friends are always like, you need to talk about your prints. You're not going to sell anything if you're not talking about them and no one knows they're here. So if you're a natural salesperson, great. So as I said, you're going to be customer services as well. And do you have the patience for this? Will you be able to kind of keep your cool when customers are complaining, when shipping hasn't arrived on time? This makes my shop sound really bad. It's not that bad. But for these eventualities that might happen, figure out your conduct, how you're going to respond to people, and just be nice. Are you able to treat people decently? And is this something you're willing to take on? Okay, so also something to bear in mind is, do you have the time and do you have the space for the shop? Because for me, the prints don't take up too much room, but the packaging, because I ship everything in postal tubes, I have just boxes of things around the whole flat. So do you have the space for that? And then for me, it's also a little bit of a gamble, starting a shop and then bringing out a new product, trying to work out whether people will buy it. Some things fly and sell out so quickly, which makes my day, and other things will just sit around for over a year, maybe even 2, which can be a bit disappointing. So will you be able to kind of take the lows and the highs? Okay, I wanted to do a fun bonus thing where I show you the prints that have made it onto my walls, because I'm super fussy, because I want each one to inspire joy every time I look at them, and each one I have and each one I've bought is so special to me. So I thought it'd be fun to show you the prints I have, and also maybe look into the psychology of what made me part with money to buy these prints. And maybe you could also do this exercise for the types of products or prints that you want to sell in your store. Try and get to the bottom of what makes you personally part with money to buy things. And then once you understand your own psychology, we can put that onto other people. This is something new that I'm doing for myself today, but I just thought of it when I was planning this video. So let's go. So this one I actually did not buy. My parents said, what do you want as a graduation present, which was really lovely. And I said, I really want this print. And the reason I wanted it was simply because Molly Crabapple is my all-time favourite artist. I wanted something of hers. And this one also sort of represents me being an artist as well. So this was simply me being a fangirl of the artist. And I love it. So you'll notice I've got a lot of my own prints on the wall, but that was just so I had a nice backdrop for the YouTube channel. So these are all mine. Apart from this one, I went to an illustration fair in 2017. I had a look around everything, and oh my gosh, I was at her stand for about an hour. Because her work was also beautiful. She had a lot of it and a lot of different price options, which was really tempting. I think I bought a couple of postcards and this print. So where did I buy it? Firstly, it's adorable, the colours I love, and her style is just beautiful. And also her pricing was really cheap for what it is, I think. And this is the thing, with a lower price point, your work is more accessible, but you need to sell more, obviously, to make as much as the Molly, for example, which was, I think, about £150, whereas Sandra's was maybe £8 to £15, I can't quite remember. But while I was at the illustration fair, her stall was absolutely crowded, so this was working for her. It felt like a sweet shop because there were so many beautiful prints, and they were all really affordable and all really tempting. So yeah, this is the one I chose. Okay, so next up is this beautiful piece by Paul Blow, who is an editorial illustrator, I would say. And he did this piece for a magazine. And everyone loved it so much, myself included, that he made it into a print, which was super smart. And I think this is one of the reasons why you should be really careful with licensing your work and maintaining the rights. Because if he'd sold the rights to this magazine, he wouldn't have been able to create this print and earn even more money from this gorgeous illustration. And I wouldn't be able to have it in my flat. It's called Love in Lockdown. It's super dreamy. I love the colour palette. I love what it's about. And I think I bought it because it's kind of a marker of a moment in time, right? It's about the pandemic. And I like the idea of having something from the pandemic which will remind me of the time that we went through. And it's beautiful. And it's £50. I think it was a limited edition of 25.50 or something. So I think that's a really good price to be setting your prices at, especially when the print itself is such good quality. And finally, this was done by an illustrator I love and follow on Instagram called Wheeze. I love her work and everything she creates is just amazing. Like, look at this. And so she did something really interesting, which I might encourage you to do as well. She did a 50-day lino cut project. So every day she'd be posting about her progress on this print. And I don't think she knew where she was going to end up with it, but I got really invested in the process of watching this being created. And it reminds me of my friend Jordan, who I'm definitely going to have on this YouTube channel because he's got so much wisdom to share. But one thing he says to me again and again is, show your process. People love the process. This is an example of how, watching this process of this print being made, I got so invested in each of the little tiny characters. I felt like I'd watched it being created, and then at the end she released it as a print and I bought it because I just love it so much. But I really do think that seeing the process itself really got me invested. So that is part one. This has kind of been my experience of running a shop and all the things I think you should bear in mind before starting. So part two, which I'll reveal soon, is going to be how to actually go about starting a shop. A bit more technical. Let me know in the comments what prints you have on your wall, what art do you have in your home, and what drew them to you? What made you part with the money? Because I really like the idea of trying to understand the psychology of buying. Anyway, if you're in London, if you're in the UK, I hope you're not dying from the heat too much. We're not used to this. And I will see you in the next video.